I don't know about you, but I was glued to my television all weekend watching the world's top athletes compete at Sochi at the Winter Olympic Games. The massive ceremony showcased 2,800 athletes from 88 countries who are competing in 98 events. And right after that beautiful opening ceremony, competition kicked into gear. Let's take a quick look at the medal count up to this point. Canada leads with 7 medals, 3 golds, 3 silvers, and a bronze. The Netherlands and Norway take second and third place, also with 7 medals. The United States takes 4th place, followed by Germany, Russia, Australia, and France. Now, today there were competitions for the men's 500-meter speed skating, women's ice hockey, women's singles and luge, and a number of other sports. I spoke earlier with RT correspondent Paul Scott. He's reporting from Sochi, and he gave us some highlights from over the weekend.
Well, I think the highlight from a Russian point of view is quite easy to point to. It came in the figure skating team event where Russia secured gold with an extremely dominant display, and there was the emergence of a new star as well. 15-year-old Yulia Lipnitskaia. She put in 2 absolutely peerless performances in the ladies' short and free programs, and really is the new darling of Russian sport. And she was helped along the way by a real legend of figure skating. I'm talking about Yevgeny Plushenko. It was the biggest cheer of the weekend when he took to the ice, and it's a really interesting story for Yevgeny Plushenko. He was touch and go as to whether he was even going to make these home games. He's had a number of injuries. He's been plagued by back injuries and knee injuries over the years, and he's actually undergone surgery no less than 12 times in recent years, but he did come back. He was fighting fit, and he was equally as faultless in his display in the men's free program. So between them, youth and experience, 15-year-old Yulia Lipnitskaia becoming one of the youngest ever gold medal winners in any Winter Olympics, in Winter Olympics history, combined with the legend and the fans' favourite that is Yevgeny Plushenko. I think that was undoubtedly the highlight for Russian sports fans over the course of the weekend, and I think the hope is, certainly in the figure skating and of course other events, that there's plenty more golds to follow.
Now, were there any surprising wins to happen over the weekend or even today?
The surprises are at a premium at the moment. So I would say in some respects there's absolutely no surprises, certainly when it comes to the speed skating event, where the Netherlands, the Dutch, are absolutely dominant in that. In 2 events so far, they've already had a 1, 2, 3, gold, silver and bronze in 2 events. So they are absolutely dominant. Sven Kramer, he claimed the men's 5,000 metres event in the speed skating down in the Adler Arena, down by the coast here in the Black Sea resort of Sochi. As I say, and there was silver and bronze also went to the Netherlands. And interestingly, today they're continuing their dominance with another 1, 2, 3, this time in the 500 metres. And there were a victory there were twins who actually secured medals, so the Dutch keeping it in the family. One of the twins won gold and the other one won bronze. So no surprises, I would say. Dutch dominance in the speed skating.
Now, Norway has historically dominated the Winter Games. Are they continuing that trend this year?
Well, Norway have won more medals in Winter Olympic history than any other country, and they took the lead over the course of the weekend. They were on top of the medals table, and as we talk right now, they are still very much there or thereabouts. I think pretty much in 3rd place at the moment, just behind the Netherlands and Canada. Let me tell you one interesting story of Norwegian Ole Einar Bjørndalen. He won the biathlon 10K sprint event on Saturday, to make him the joint record holder for the most amount of Winter Olympic medals in history, ironically, or perhaps not so surprisingly, alongside another Norwegian. Now, this evening, he had the chance in the 12.5K pursuit event to become the single most decorated Winter Olympian in history, but unfortunately all he needed was a top 3 finish in the 12.5K pursuit event. Bronze would have done it for him. It would have been his 13th Winter Olympic medal, 7 of them of course gold, but he finished 4th. He was a little over 1 second off the pace that prevented him getting that bronze medal and creating history. So Norway, they're still very much there or thereabouts, but I think it'll be mixed emotions this evening for Ole Einar Bjørndalen.
Now, Paul, I can hear behind you music. I can see a lot of people moving around, despite the fact that it's actually pretty late there in Sochi. So what is the atmosphere like for you as a journalist covering this?
Yeah, well, we're actually by one of the many live sites in and around the Sochi region. They're dotted all over around Sochi, Adler, which is a lot further along the coast, which is where the coastal cluster is, with all the indoor ice events where they're taking place. And of course, up in the mountains, Krasnaya Polyana. So these live sites are dotted all around the region. We're in the one in Sochi by the port. I'm not sure if you can make it out. It is just beginning to wrap up, actually. The atmosphere has been pretty spectacular throughout the course of the evening. There's a giant screen where spectators gather to watch all the sporting events, and also the medal ceremony, which take place every evening at 8:14 p.m. Of course, that's 2014 to represent the year. The spectators gather together to watch the medal ceremony. There's also a stage, which is now closed. There's nobody on it, which has various musical acts all throughout the evening. And as I say, this isn't the only one in the region. So the atmosphere is pretty good, pretty special in and around Sochi and the region at the moment. And every single evening as well, I have to say, there's a fireworks display not far from here, and no expense is spared. It's pretty spectacular.
Now, one of the things that has been obviously dominating the headlines recently is the security situation in Sochi. So what is the security situation like from your perspective in the Olympic Village?
Well, the organisers were keen for the security presence to be reassuring rather than overbearing. There are around 40,000 police and security officers who are in and around the Sochi region at the moment. And as I say, the organisers were keen that the presence wasn't intimidating, it wasn't overbearing. And I think it is reassuring. Everywhere you look, you do see a small gaggle of police officers walking around. It does reassure you that the area is pretty secure. Of course, there's a lot of talk about the so-called Ring of Steel and the fact that the restive Caucasus region is not far from here, and the terrorist attacks in Volgograd between Christmas and New Year, of course, put the issue of security firmly in the spotlight. And I think there was sort of some apprehension, some tension perhaps in the build-up to the opening ceremony last week before the games actually started. But now the games have begun and the sport is starting to dominate the headlines, I think people in and around here are starting to unwind and relax a little bit more.
RT's Paul Scott bringing us the latest from Sochi's Olympic Games of 2014. Thank you so much. Stay warm.